What's up everybody, it's CJ and I'm back with another CJ Fix My Build video. This is like the first one that we've done in a long time, y'all. Like, I don't even know the last time we did a CJ Fix My Build, but we're back at it again. And if you don't know, CJ Fix My Build is just like a way for me to give back to my community. So if you watch me over on Twitch, there's these things called channel points. So essentially the longer you watch, the more points you'll accumulate. And then you can redeem them for certain things. Certain streamers have certain things that you can redeem. So if you get like a certain number on my stream, I'll let you redeem CJ Fix My Build. So it's just a way for me to like either build something for you or to like edit a pre-existing build. Originally it was supposed to be for like people who already built something that wants me to kind of like fix it up a little bit. But like at this point it's just whatever. But like I said, it's just a way to kind of give back because y'all have given so much to me. I'm like, how can I not? But today we're doing a build for Blythe. Now this is the Grandpa's Grove tractor lot from the Sims 3 store. So you will need that lot as well. You're definitely going to need it. So essentially this is like a really big 64 by 64 lot, and it has a pretty big farmhouse, and then around the house you'll see these dirt tracks, and then you'll see a tractor. So the tractor is also store content, and essentially you can ride around on the tractor and you can harvest all of the harvestables like a lot quicker, and you can also fertilize them. You can also give 2 other Sims hay rides on the dirt track. It's a cool object. It's just kind of limited to the tracks themselves, but Blythe wanted me to fix this lot today, and that is what I am doing, y'all. This took all day long. I'm not even complaining about it, but it just took a long time, and I'm so glad that the game didn't crash, because when I went to go take screenshots, my game crashed. So I'm kind of glad it didn't do that when I was actually recording, because I would have been really upset. Luckily, everything turned out pretty good. So as y'all know, this is a Max's lot, and y'all, some of us already know what I'm about to say, okay? Now, I will say this though. Overall, this is not the worst, okay? It's decent. I mean, the fact that this venue, I don't even know how many Sims points it was, but I know this has got to be at least probably about $20, probably. Maybe a little bit less, but this ain't like a $3 lot. I guess like the house itself is decent enough to play in, but there are some issues build-wise. Like for one, the upstairs only has 2 bedrooms. Like you'll see this big, massive house, y'all. There's only like 2 bedrooms. There's 2 bedrooms. I think it has 1 or 2 bathrooms in the house, and then the rest is just like kitchen and living room. There's just so much space that just they just never really used it. And I understand that maybe like they couldn't use all of it because like, you know, system limitations and all that, but like this big house is only like 2 bedrooms. That's kind of crazy. So I made it 3, or I guess technically you could see 4, but I just used 3 bedrooms, so not too much better, but I think I had a better use of space. Now I really struggled a lot, y'all, with trying to figure out what to actually fix up, because these dirt tracks are very finicky in the way that you have to like place them down exact, because if you don't, they won't really work that well. I did not want to break this because I've done a custom track before a long time ago, but it's not something I'm used to doing. Just from like looking at the lot, it doesn't look that bad, right? Like the trees are kind of placed strategically, like it's meant to kind of work this way. So I wasn't a hater. I thought about maybe like before I actually looked at the lot, I was like, okay, well I might want to put some more harvestables. I might want to like rearrange it, but I didn't really do too much for the most part. I did add some things, but where you see most of the trees, I didn't really change that much, honestly. I also really struggled a lot too, y'all, because, you know, when I think, at least for me, when I think of farm, especially in The Sims, I'm thinking of horses, I'm thinking of chickens, cows, my cats, my dogs, you know, whatever, insert other animal here. But when I think about this lot, I think of it as being more of an orchard and not really like a farm where like they have livestock. So you won't see any horses, you won't see any cows. I did include a couple of chickens. So you're seeing right now this little fenced in area. This is where I put the chickens. But yeah, you won't really see livestock. I thought about maybe trying to add horses somewhere, but I really wanted this lot's focal point to be the harvestables, because that's literally what it is. Like when you download it from the Sims 3 store, it's really just the harvestables, you know. You can add stuff obviously, but that was kind of like my main priority, was just trying to like fix up the lot, make it look a little bit better. And since I'm using just anything, I was able to add more things that I felt like really helped the lot, if that makes sense. Now Blythe did not give me any instructions. She didn't say CJ use this or don't use that, so I kind of just went with my own direction. So my headcanon for the lot is that I feel like this build is like old. Obviously it's an old farmhouse, but I like to think of like not so much this house is frozen in time, but more so when you play here, you're gonna be playing back in like maybe like the 60s, you know, or the 70s. Like this is very much like an old build. Like they do have some modern things, like there is a computer and they do have a nicer TV, but my headcanon is like it's back in the olden days, if that makes sense. So there's mom, dad, and then they have a teenage son and another son who's like a kid. And the way that I see it, the teenage son is tired of working on the farm. He's tired of it, okay? This is what he's been doing his whole life. Wake up in the morning before school, feed the chickens, go outside, make sure everything is good, spray fertilizer, ride the tractor. He's tired of it, okay? His friends are hanging out at the diner, getting milkshakes, and he's at home working all the time. He's tired. So I guess for him, he's like, the only way I can really get out of here is to join the Air Force. So he's going to be joining the Air Force. You'll see his room in a little bit. And then for the younger son, I feel like he's just kind of following along with whatever the brother is doing. But instead of him wanting to join the Air Force, I feel like he's more into like the army. You know, he wants to join the army. So you'll see his bedroom in a little bit as well. And then of course you have the dad. The dad is, you know, very old fashioned, old school, hard work. You know, you got to be out here sweating and doing this and that. If you think you have nothing to do, that means you got too much free time. Just stuff like that. So very toxic, but I feel like at his core, he's a hard worker and he wants to instill that into his kids. So he's usually out here taking care of his harvestables, his crops, you know, hoping that the weather permits and the seasons aren't too intense. You know, the summers aren't too hot, the winters aren't too cold. And then of course we have mom. Mom is more of a homebody, homemaker type. You know, she likes to host parties. You know, the house is always going to be clean. She's baking, cooking. She's also helping out too when she has a chance. So very, I guess, like stereotypical classical family, I guess. But that's just kind of my little headcanon. I thought about maybe trying to modernize this lot a little bit, but I don't know. I just like the old vibes. And even when you look at the objects that came with the house, like from the Sims 3 store, a lot of them are like old-timey clocks. The couches are really, really old and outdated. And it's been a while since I've done like a grandma, grandpa kind of style home anyway. So this was like right up my alley. Like I just love this aesthetic in The Sims. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to mention this, y'all. But as you can see, I turned on Bitebug. Y'all, there are so many planters and spawners on this lot. Like I understand maybe some of them, but like why was there fish spawners near the harvestables? So like I'm pretty sure when you go into live mode you won't see any fish, but like why is it there in the first place? And if you don't know, if you have too many spawners on one lot, that can make the game lag. Like not even just the lot, the whole entire game. I mean, it's The Sims 3. So I mean, why did they put this many spawners on one lot? Same thing with the greenhouse lot from the Sims 3 store. That lot has a bunch of seed spawners, and from what I understand, they'll keep spawning just forever and ever and ever, and they'll keep stacking on top of each other, and then of course that's just going to add more lag to the game. So like this lot isn't as bad as that greenhouse lot, but there's still a lot. Like, I get the butterflies. I even added some butterflies, but there was just too many seed spawners. So I got rid of them. So at some point when these harvestables die out, you're going to have to plant more. But I don't think that's too big of a deal. Like, I would rather, personally, me have to just plant more manually than to just have the game keep spawning them, and then I kind of forget about it and my game is laggy. Because, like, as you can see, this is a big lot already. Okay, so, like, you know, it's going to lag anyway to a certain degree. So I'm trying not to add more to that, if that makes sense. I just wanted to mention that to let you know, if you're like, CJ, where's the seed spawners? I took them away. I honestly hope that when you download this, the game doesn't replace them. So you might want to go check and see just to make sure. I did place some. Like, I also placed a lot of butterflies too, because, like, you know, why not? But yeah, just keep that in mind. I got rid of them because I don't really think you needed all of those. But as you can kind of see, we're almost done with doing all the landscaping and stuff. Like, most of the build video, y'all, was outside. Like, I think at the time, I was recording for like 40 something minutes, I want to say, and most of that footage was just outside. Like, a lot of things I cut out so you didn't see it, but there was so much, y'all, to fix up and just kind of tweak a little bit. One other thing was, like, the house is kind of uneven. For one, is like, you can see that there's this weird little, like, angled bump out, and I tried to get it even on both sides, but it just wasn't looking good. So I just kind of made the front of the house like one tile bigger, essentially. But that was that really weird section. And then if you like, you'll see it a little bit later in the build video, but the back of the house, the roof hangs over, so it's not quite even, and it has like an overhang. And I'm like, why did they do that? Because I know, like, sometimes in The Sims 3 with certain roof techniques, it's gonna look a little janky, you know, if you want it to look a certain way. But they didn't really have to do that. Like, all they really had to do was just make the back of the house one tile bigger. Same thing with this. You won't see it right now, but I noticed that the front of the house, or the side of the house, is a little bit like off center, so it's a little bit of an overhang. So I had to like fix that as well. So the house is like a couple tiles bigger than it originally was, but it's not to a I feel like a noticeable amount. But yeah, like I don't know why they just didn't make it even, because like it would have just made it a little bit better, but whatever. I didn't really have to do too much with the roofing, as you can kind of see. If anything, I just lowered it down and re-roofed it, but I didn't really like have to change that much. I did add a little gabled roof to the top of the house just to kind of make the roofing up here look a little bit more interesting. And I really tried to like replace these windows, but for some reason I could not replace them. The game did not want the windows to go up there, so I'm like, you know what, we'll keep the ones that exist, we'll just recolor them, and we'll just kind of go for what we know. I also did make the house a lot brighter than it originally was, because it had like an awful white color, and I don't mind it, but you know, let's just go for like a nice brighter white color. So maybe at some point, you know, the dad went through and repainted the house. Overall, I feel like if you didn't really know or realize what the original lot looked like, you probably can't tell that big of a difference from what I've done. But I don't think that's a bad thing always. Like sometimes with, EA builds, I always talk about them, but sometimes they're okay, you know? I get like a lot of times you do have to change a lot of stuff, but sometimes they're decent enough where you can just kind of play and just forget about it. So I feel like maybe my differences or like my changes weren't that big as they normally are, but I still think mine looks nice. Like I really like the way it turned out, and I kept a lot of the original things here because they weren't all that bad. Oh, and you know, when it came to the windows, I almost forgot to replace these. I like to get bigger windows in The Sims usually because they let more light in and they just kind of help the build not seem all off. Because I feel like with a game like The Sims, you can kind of just tell when the room is just off. Like you can kind of tell like a room that doesn't have windows, it just feels like something is missing. Same thing when you have like really small windows that barely let in any light. It's just like something is missing, like something's off. So we added some bigger windows. These are the ones from Showtime, by the way. And then I'm using the door from Supernatural, and I'm just recoloring them to match what the original color scheme was, because I had green windows, and I quite liked it. So I was like, we'll go for that. I also added some park benches outside. You might have saw earlier that I added an extra gazebo outside as well. That's more like when you first come into the lot. And I put a chest table on that one, and the house had an art easel, so I was like, I guess we'll just keep the easel outside just because. This is the part I was telling you all about for the back of the house. See like how there's like that weird overhang? Why did they do that? What's going on? Like again, sometimes with certain roof techniques you may have to do something like that and just kind of ignore it, but like they didn't really have to. They could have just like made it one tile bigger. Like what's going on? I don't get it. But in the end, we fixed it. It's not that big of a deal. And it does make the house bigger, but that's not always a bad thing. And as you can see, it looks a lot better from just by doing this one little thing. Even though this took like a long time to do and this house was really big, I am really happy that I did it, because I think this is going to be good practice for the Barnacle Bay builds. Because if you don't know, I am trying to fix up Barnacle Bay. So if you don't know, Barnacle Bay is like a Sims 3 world from the Sims 3 store. It's like one of the first ones that came out, and it's not good. I mean, for one, it's very similar to Sunset Valley in the sense of like, it's kind of like, you know, tropical, beachy kind of world. Barnacle Bay is different enough, I guess, because it's like pirate themed, but there's not really that many objects that come with the world that are new. And then a lot of the builds are just kind of really bad. So I'm trying my best to edit and to fix up a lot of those builds. And I asked my community when I was first starting to do the renovations if they wanted me to like use just stuff from the base game or just whatever, and people just use whatever. So I'm trying to really fix up a lot of those lots. I have like about 40 something builds already done, because I'm trying to also do some of the community lot builds as well. Yeah, so if you like that kind of thing, I'll leave a link to the playlist down below. I'm kind of at the point where I'm running out of the smaller builds to furnish and fix up, so I'm gonna have to tackle some of those big houses. And y'all, some of those big houses I just want to bulldoze and start from scratch, but I try not to, because like with that series in particular, I try not to like delete too much. I try to like use what Max's provided and just kind of fix it up and make it better. Sometimes you do have to end up deleting a lot of stuff just to fix it, but I try not to, because I think it's just fun, like a fun little challenge to just kind of use what I have available to me. But for some of those builds, I think we might have to bulldoze y'all. So I think this was good practice, because a lot of those builds are really, really big. This build was huge, but it took a while, but I think in the end it all kind of came together. I just kind of took things one by one, you know? So now we are officially on the inside. I'm just trying to fix up the floor plan upstairs, because when it comes to like houses that are multi-storied in The Sims, I like to sometimes start the floor plan around where the stairs are going to be. That's like a really good technique. I think of like floor plans like puzzle pieces. So if you get the hard part down first, you can kind of like move everything else around. Now, since the old house had the stairs off to the side, I was like, I guess we could just use that idea. I am using some angled stairs from the Sims 3 store. I think these came from the country set. if not Grandpa's Grove. There's like 2 different country sets on the Sims 3 store. I think it came with the other one, but I like these angled stairs because they don't take up that much space. And they're angled, you know? You can't really do like a seamless angled stair in The Sims 3. You can kind of do something with constrained floor, but nothing quite like that, so I'm glad we have those. Right now, I'm just kind of going around to each room, just trying to add windows so things can have symmetry. I'm just trying to like fix up wallpaper. I'm adding things. I'm like changing and like looking around because I like to kind of do the floor plan first so I can kind of just focus on the decorating part, you know? So I thought that maybe since this house is, you know, an older farmhouse, I was like, we'll just go for a closed off floor plan today. So when you first enter the house, you'll have like the dining room, and then you'll have like an archway that kind of leads to like a little hallway that leads to upstairs. There's also going to be a little computer desk by the door as well. And there's also some really cool artwork. I forgot that the lot came with these like old-timey photos, so I kept them. I tried to keep some original things from the original house as well. So you'll see like these chairs by the door. That just comes with the house, so I was like, all right, we'll just use them. I did use some older curtains. They kind of look a little fancy, but I kind of like them. I was also really just trying to like fill up some of the space because like there's a lot of space. Like I'm telling y'all, whenever you have a Sims build with a lot of space and you don't really know what to put, it kind of gets kind of sometimes, you know? So I was really just trying to like add things. So rugs, I like to call it filler furniture. So we have bookshelves, rugs, a grandfather clock. I'm just trying to fill in some of these spaces. But I also wanted things to kind of make it look like it kind of could belong here because I'm trying to go for something a little bit more old fashioned, you know what I mean? So we have like an old timey bookshelf from the Pets pack. I quite like the desk, but I swapped it out for a different style of desk. I just like this one a little bit more. Like I said, I did include some modern things in the house. So the computer for one, but I used the older computer, you know? And then we have like a flat screen TV. I know. But listen, a lot of the old timey TVs are really small and I wanted to kind of fill up that space. So we can just pretend, okay? Imagine it being like one of those like old timey futuristic TVs. You know what I'm saying? Looks like it came from like the atomic age or whatever. But now we move on to the living room. So when you enter here, you'll have an archway that leads to the living room, but there's also another one that leads to the kitchen, and then there's also one that leads to a bathroom. So this house has 3 bathrooms, and one of them is like a half bathroom, essentially. 3 bathrooms, and it's 3 bedrooms. For the living room, I did use some stuff from the Sims 3 store, like this little end table. I quite liked it, but I really wanted to use this couch that came with the set, because I haven't used that couch in so long. I used to use it when I used to do like grandma and grandpa builds back in the day, and I haven't used it in so long, so I was like, bro, we're gonna use one and we're gonna get another one. And then what I'll sometimes do is I'll like slightly recolor one of the couches so they still can match, but you can tell like there's a little bit of a difference. I like to think that maybe they bought 2 different couches from like similar sets, but they just like have different colors so they can mix and match a little bit. Also, there's this bookshelf. It came with the house. I like the green color, but since I had green for the wallpaper, I was like, that's a little bit too matchy-matchy. So I went with a blue bookshelf instead with some brown accents. There's also this olive tree object from the Sims 3 store, and I used that a couple of times in the build just so it could take up a lot of space. Oh, and then y'all, I also found these old-timey photos from the Supernatural pack, and I was like, oh yeah, this house would definitely have something like that. So I have like a couple of them on the wall. Again, as you can see, these are like the couches. They're kind of like similar, but a little bit different in terms of color scheme. And then now we move on to the bathroom. So the downstairs bathroom is green. I was really inspired by the exterior of this house because it's like green and white, and I kind of wanted a lot of green on the inside of the house as well. So we have like green bathroom tile and I also recolored the tub and toilet to be green as well. And then for the kitchen counters, I use these mid-century ones that I don't really ever use. And I'm using some smaller boxy mirrors, and I move them to be like right beside each other. And I think that kind of looks cool. It's kind of giving like an old school retro bathroom. We have the towel cabinet in here as well. The bathroom just really kind of came together. Like, I just like the bathroom. I tried to make each bathroom kind of different, you know? And then now we have the kitchen. Now, the kitchen is one of the biggest rooms in the entire house, honestly. So I did not know what to really put in here. Like, I knew there were certain things that I wanted. For one, I really wanted to use the canning station. It's an object from the Sims 3 store that allows you to make jam and preserves, that kind of thing. I used to use it genuinely like all the time back in the day, like way before I was a YouTuber. I would just use it all the time. I don't really use it that much anymore. Maybe I need to get back into it, but I knew I wanted to use that. And then I knew that I wanted to have some of those old-timey like retro countertops in here because, like, why not? So I put them in kind of like a U shape, And then of course I like left some spaces for the canning station. I also used the original stove. This house used the slightly better stove from the base game. And I also wanted some upper cabinets. For some reason, I always thought that this countertop set had matching upper cabinets, but apparently it doesn't. Or if it does, I just didn't see it. So I'm mixing and matching them with the ones from base game. And then I also wanted to put an island counter, so I put bar stools at the counter. And then there's also a retro style table behind it. I feel like mom's hosting parties and having little gatherings and get-togethers, so you know, it's plenty of seating for everyone, especially if you want to throw parties and stuff. So you have a dining table, a kitchen table, and you have an island counter sitting space, so more than enough areas for people to sit down and eat. And then you also have the living room right beside it, so people should be able to find us somewhere to sit. And then I found this display case. I guess it's like a china cabinet, I guess, but it has like jams and stuff in it. And I'm like, yeah, mom is making jam and she's displaying it, you know, for later. So I definitely want to put that in here as well. I'm using some of the matching sinks. And I also wanted to use some old-timey appliances. So we have the old-timey food processor, the coffee machine, and the microwave. Because, you know, why not? Some of these objects I don't really use that much. So whenever I'm doing these really themed builds, I'm like, I kind of need to find a excuse to use it, you know? Like, I kind of need to use it at some point. I also cluttered up the kitchen a little bit by adding some pie, some bags of flour. There's like this little milk jug by the floor. And we have like this little display that has like a gravy moat on it. So just like some cool little things like that. One thing I forgot about when I was like doing the inside is that there's like a whole outside section when you can eat. And it has like a little like pergola above it. Yo, I genuinely forgot this existed. So I had to like come outside really quick and kind of like fix it up a little bit. I like the idea that the original house had. It used these thick columns from base game, and I was like, well, I guess we can add some of those. But instead of me just having like the base game fence, I like the one from the Generations pack because it has like the beams made into it. So I had to basically redo the fencing twice and like move the columns so it can match. And then I wanted to kind of like make this pergola a little bit better. So I kind of put it at a little bit of an angle, and I'm just adding more beams in it, and then I'm moving some of these flowers around. Again, not really doing too much. It still looks good, but I just wanted to add some more. And then I also kept the original tables out here. I just recolored them to be the same color as the ones on the inside. But again, I didn't really add too much outside here. So like I said, there's plenty of places to sit on this lot. If you have parties inside, outside, people can just find a place to sit. This is just me now just kind of fixing up the half bathroom. So there's just a shower and there's a sink. Not too much going on in the bathroom. I just needed like, we just have some extra space. So I was like, maybe we'll just add like a little shower down here just because. All right, so now we move on to the upstairs section, and y'all, I was struggling with this because for some reason, things just weren't looking good up here. I don't know how to explain it. I think it just looked like it was unfinished. So what I did is I basically made, we'll go there first, but Dad has like a home office workshop kind of thing. So I made that room bigger because like for some reason I was just trying to like do the railing and everything, and it just felt like I had so much space I didn't really know what to do with it. You'll see that like the area above the bathroom, I just recolored it to be black because like otherwise you could look down into the bathroom, and since I wanted this to be lofted, it just wasn't gonna look that good. I don't know. So I made this room bigger so you don't see, because like before I moved this here, it was just so much extra grid space and you wouldn't be able to like look down below, and I don't really like stuff like that in The Sims. So yeah, I think this was like the best way to go about it, because at first I did not know what this room was going to be. It was going to be like a playroom, and then I was like, well, maybe it could be a home office, but then I'm like, so I made it into a workshop. You know, I feel like the dad is up here at various times of the day. Maybe like if it's raining or if it's too cold for stuff to grow, he's in here just tinkering away. So we have an inventing table. We have a little model train set of Sunset Valley. There's a grandfather clock. We have the gem cutting machine in here as well. And then I'm just adding a bunch of little trinkets and stuff. You'll see that there's like this metallic octopus sculpture. I don't know. I think he was just doing a bunch of who knows what up here. It's one of those things where it's like he's in his workshop. You don't really know what he does, but you just know he's doing something, you know? And then I also put like a little sign too outside of his room, because like maybe at some point he was getting like people from the town to like ask like, hey, like I have such and such, can you make this for me? And maybe he just does this in the winter to earn some extra money or something. And I forgot to mention this, y'all. Oh my gosh, I forgot to mention this. I am building this lot in Riverview. So Riverview doesn't have an empty 64x64 lot. I had to like bulldoze this family home. I forgot what the name of the family was, but I had to like bulldoze their home to build this here. So If you're wondering like what world that I placed this in, it's in Riverview. I tried to use Twinbrook, but there was no space big enough to place this down. So yeah, I'm placing this in Riverview, which kind of fits the vibe of the lot anyway. You know, Riverview is like a rural town area. But yeah. Anyway, but as you can see, this is the kids' rooms, but as you can see, it's coming together. So the older brother, his side of the room is on the right side. The younger brother's room is on the left side of the room. I also included a desk in here, so maybe he could do his homework or something like that. I was just really trying my best to clutter up the space. So I gave them like rocket ships. There's like a fossil. There's like book clutter as well, because I feel like if anything, the older brother, he's studying in school, getting all his good grades because he's ready to get out. So he is like determined to get the heck out of this house. But that's basically everything for the room. I just think it looks kind of cool. You know, there's a lot of space in here. We have like a costume chest. There's a T-Rex hanging off the wall. There's just a bunch of stuff. And then now we move on to the parents' room. I like the parents' bedroom. I like their wallpaper. I use the Ivy design. I don't know. I just kind of like it. It just kind of looks like old fashioned. It kind of gives like a 90s bedroom in a way. I used one of the beds. I think it might be from the mid-century set. Or one of the sets from the Sims 3 store. I'm also using that table that came with the bedroom, and I'm just kind of like moving it to be at the foot of the bed. And then I wanted to add a fireplace, because I want to say this bedroom had a fireplace originally, and I got rid of it, so I just added one. I think the one I used was from university, and I just got rid of the chimney and everything because it was kind of clipping. But yeah, I think their bedroom came together really nicely as well. They also have an ensuite that leads out into the hallway. But that's basically everything for the entire video. So if you did enjoy it, y'all, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below. Follow me over on Twitch where I stream a lot more of The Sims. And please stick around for the screenshots so you can see how the house looks from different angles. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this one, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye! Thanks for watching!